If you're in your 20s, sports betting might be one of the most expensive addictions that you could pick up, and most people don't even realize it until it is too late. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the real cost of sports betting and how it is destroying guys that are in their 20s or just in general Gen Z guys. So before we jump into the video, comment down below, do you think that sports betting is just like harmless entertainment, or is it a financial trap? I definitely think it's a financial trap. That is just my opinion though. So go ahead and comment that down below. Now jumping into the video, I want to start out by talking about why sports betting, it's different from any other hobby. I actually view sports betting as an addiction because it can become a very serious addiction over time. It's not the same thing as just playing video games or like going to a movie. It is something that will actually trigger dopamine spikes. There is a ton of research and psychology behind all of these things. It can encourage impulsive decision making, and it teaches your brain to chase losses and go after short-term dopamine, which is never good long-term. And not only this, but it completely rewires how you think about money and risk. Instead of thinking, how do I build long-term wealth, you start thinking, how do I win fast? How can I turn this $100 into $2,000 or $5,000 or $10,000? And I feel like that mindset is very dangerous. So I want to talk about the real cost of sports betting and sports gambling. And it's not just money. Like, there's definitely a financial cost, but there's also a mental cost as well as a time cost. So starting out with the financial cost, one thing I've noticed, especially with my friends that sports bet, is they start out small, right? They start out betting $10, $20 here and there, and slowly it goes from 20 to 50, and then 50 to 100. And then before you know it, they're betting thousands of dollars a month and they're losing a shit ton of money. And part of the reason I believe this happens, I don't know if there's actual science behind this, but this is what I'm seeing at least, is when they start out betting $20, let's say they bet 20 and then they win 30. So you've made $10. That's pretty nice. But if you keep betting 20 and winning 30, that gives you less and less dopamine over time. And so in order to get more dopamine, you got to up the ante. You got to up the stakes a little bit. So instead of betting 20, now let's bet 50 and really see how much we could win. And if you think a $50 bet's going to give you a big dopamine spike, imagine a $500 bet or a $1,000 bet, especially if it wins. But the thing people don't think about is you're going to lose most of the time. I mean, these sports betting apps are set up exactly like a casino is. They want to keep you going, whether it's giving you free bets or giving you different incentives. And you can bet on anything under the sun. You can bet on whether the next pitch is a ball or a strike. You can bet on whether the next play is a run or a pass. Like, you can bet on very small things, like live bets as they're happening. And the huge financial cost that comes with sports betting is that losses feel very emotional. I mean, when you put up $500 or even $100 and you lose it, you're now thinking, okay, well, now I need to get that 100 back. So I need to bet until I can get out of the hole. But what ends up happening is you're just digging yourself further and further deeper into a hole. And I'll talk a little bit more about the financial cost later, but I do want to talk about the mental cost as well, because it trains your brain to crave fast rewards, which is a very dangerous thing. It trains you to avoid long-term thinking and trying to seek excitement instead of discipline. And this mindset is going to hurt you in a lot of ways in life, because if you're just constantly chasing these little short-term dopamine hits, and when researching this video, I saw a statistic that honestly just scares the shit out of me. It is that 1 in 10 US adults now say they have placed an online sports bet in the past year, which is insane to me. And it looks like that is up from 6% in 2022. So that is nearly doubled in a couple of years. I know if, 12% would be the double, but that's a pretty large percentage increase. I mean, 1 in 10 US adults is a very, very large number. And I will link this article down below, as well as any other facts I say in this video, as well as the screenshot you're seeing here. But that is extremely alarming to me. And I feel like when it comes to sports betting, the target demographic is guys between the ages of 18 and I'd say probably 35. I mean, think about it. Who watches NFL Sunday the most? It's not women in their 20s, 30s, or 40s. It's guys. You know what I mean? Like, especially when you're watching NFL Sunday, the amount of sports betting ads I see is ridiculous. And they're always filled with like huge influencers or celebrities trying to promote them, whether it's DraftKings or, Prize Picks or any of the other ones that you see. They're dumping tons and tons of money into advertising and marketing because they know that if they can even get one person a little bit addicted for a couple years, they're going to get a very good return on that. And there's a lot of stats out there, whether it's going to the casino or whether it's sports betting, that over a long period of time, less than 1% of people come out ahead. So why the hell are you doing it to yourself? And I understand that it is an addiction, and maybe I'm being insensitive about it, but you want to avoid the financial and the mental cost of this. And the third cost that some people don't even think about is that there's a time cost to it. Like, you're spending time researching your bets. You're spending time watching games just for money. You're constantly stress checking different odds and payouts and if certain bets are hitting, especially if you're placing like multiple bets at once. I need Jason Tatum to do this, and I need Steph Curry to do this. And like, you need all these separate things to occur in order for like a parlay to hit. Like, that's exhausting, and that takes a lot of time and effort. And that time you're spending sports betting and sports gambling could easily be spent learning new skills, trying to build up an income, improving your health, like literally just going outside, taking a walk, running, exercising. Like, you can use that time in so many better ways than sports betting. And so those are the three main costs that I see when it comes to sports betting. And we'll talk about the financial cost a little bit more. But before that, I do want to talk about my own personal experience that I have had with sports betting. I'm going to talk about 3 different scenarios. One of them is with a former coworker and the other 2 are with me. So in December of 2019, this is fall of my senior year of college. I'm about to graduate, after spring semester with my bachelor's in finance. This is pre-COVID, so this is December 2019. I am home and so are a bunch of my friends from, my friend group growing up. And so one night we thought, hey, let's go to the casino. This could be pretty fun. Now, at this point, I'm not rich. I'm not doing well at all financially. I don't have a job that's making good money. I think I was driving for like DoorDash at the time. I literally had probably $105 to my name, and that's in my, literally in my account, the cash account that I had was $105, and I also had around $2,000 of credit card debt. So I should not have been gambling at all in the first place. So I go to the casino with my high school buddies. We're having a good time, we're drinking, and I bet $20, and then all of a sudden the $20 disappears because I'm playing I think it was blackjack or something like that. And then I go to the ATM and I withdraw another 20, but here's the thing, they charge you a fee. So I withdraw 20, but they charge me 24. Okay, so then I do that again, and then I lose that money. And before I know it, I lose all $100. There is literally $2 left in my account at this point. And like I said, this is during Christmas break, so it is right before Christmas. And I remember my logic at the time was, oh, maybe I'll get a little bit of money for my family members, so it doesn't matter if I lose this $100. But when I got home and told my dad, yeah, I basically drained my account, he just ripped me a new asshole. And honestly, for the right reasons. Because think about it, I'm a finance major that's been job shadowing a financial advisor. I don't have much money to my name. I'm $2,000 in debt, and I'm over here gambling away my last $100. What the fuck am I doing? It's time to lock in. How are you going to sit here and be all into finance, but then at the same time, you're just gambling your money away? And honestly, I'm glad he scolded me for that. It was a very good lesson to learn. And I remember feeling like absolute shit afterwards because, again, that was literally my last $100. I didn't have anything at that point. So luckily for me, my gambling experience was mainly just losing that $100. I have barely gambled since then. I've probably gambled less than $50 since then in the past 6 years. I've never ever gotten into gambling. It's just not my thing. And I'd much rather invest my money and, put it to work for me instead of my money just getting burnt into a fire. So that was my first personal experience with gambling. Now talking about my former coworker. At my previous job, I had a coworker where him and I would occasionally talk about finance stuff. And I remember one day he came in and he's like, dude, I think I might actually have a gambling problem. And I was like, well, what do you mean? Did you place a big bet or what happened? What are you talking about? And he goes, well, I was looking actually at my accounts and I've been losing $1,000 a month gambling, which if you know anything about investing long-term, $1,000 a month, that's a shit ton of money. That's literally $12,000 a year. And this guy was making $100K a year. So that was 12% of his gross income, not even his take-home pay. His gross pay was going towards gambling. And I'm pretty sure that 1,000 went up and up and up. I don't think it started out as 1,000 per month. I think he slowly was gambling more and more, like what I talked about at the beginning. And this wasn't somebody that was rich. He wasn't even doing it for fun. It almost seemed like he was stuck gambling. I realized this isn't just harmless entertainment for a lot of people. This is actually financially draining. This is screwing people over. And at the time, I think I was 25 or 26 years old and he was 2 years older than me. So he was, 27, 28. So the reason I'm telling you this is you do not want to be that coworker. You do not want to be that type of guy where in your 20s, you're just gambling away tens of thousands of dollars because that can add up to a shit ton of money over time. And I'll even talk about that a little bit later when I talk about more of the opportunity cost side of things. So that is my second personal experience with gambling. Now, the third one also goes back to me, but this was a very interesting lesson on the third one. Now, this was before I lost that last $100. And again, I have barely gambled in my life. I probably gambled less than 5 to 6 times total. But I had a friend from out of town that was visiting and he was like, hey, let's go to the casino. So we went to the casinos and I remember I gambled $20 and I turned it into 60 and then I ended up leaving with $40. And the thing that was really interesting, and I think I started to connect the dots here, was I had made money, right? I walked in with 20, I left with 40, but I felt like I had lost. I did not feel good at all because I was like, shit, I could have had 60 and now I have 40. And when you're a broke college student the way I was, $20 is a big difference. $20 can go a long ways for you, especially back in 2018, 2019, 2020. It goes a lot further than it does today. And that made me come to a really good realization that even when you win in gambling, if you don't win at the top, you feel like you're losing, which that's a horrible feeling. Why would you want to do that to yourself long term? So since those two personal experiences that I have had, I have barely gambled. I do not do it. I do not recommend it. I think it is a very stupid thing to do long term. And I'm really glad that I've not developed a gambling addiction because I know a ton of guys that do. And the thing that makes sports betting so bad is it can completely rewire your confidence. People, when they win in sports betting, they literally think to themselves, I'm smart. I'm really good at this. And then when they lose, they're like, oh shit, I need to win it back. And over time, you end up just trusting luck more than actual discipline and hard work. And you start to doubt slow progress because again, you're chasing these little dopamine spikes. You're chasing these highs. And the emotional highs that you have, they're great. But when you lose money, which you're going to long term, it's going to kill your long-term success. And you do not want to do that. You want to build real wealth. You don't want to sit here and just keep throwing $100 to try to turn it into 10,000, because even if you're not throwing $100, even if it's $10 or $20 at a time, you could still have a death by 1,000 cuts. You do $20 a day, 5 days in a row, that's $100 a week. That is $5,200 a year. So that shit can really add up, especially if you look at the opportunity cost, which I'm going to talk about now. So let's actually analyze the opportunity cost of sports betting versus investing. So let's pretend that somebody bets $200 a month from age 22 to age 32. So $200 times 12 months, that is $2,400 a year. They're going to do that for 10 years, which is $24,000 that they're gambling. Now, I'm going to assume over a long period of time, you're not winning. Like, sure, you may bet 200 here and it may turn into 400, but then that 400 is eventually going to go to zero. I really do believe this. And if you want to argue with me on this, you're just talking to a wall. You're not going to convince me. So that $24,000 that this person gambled, that is lost money. There is zero compounding. There is zero growth. You probably went through an emotional roller coaster along the way with pretty high stress. And at the end of the day, you have nothing to show for that money. Compared to if you invested $200 a month for 10 years, let's pretend that you got an 8% return every year. Then after 10 years, that $24,000 you invested would be worth $36,000. So at least you've made some money and you got something to show for it. And after 20 years, that would be around $110,000. And then after 30 years, that would be around $250,000. So that's the hidden cost of gambling that people don't realize. It's not just the money you lose, but it's what you could have built along the way. That $24,000 that the person loses over 10 years, that could be built into over $250,000. That's over 10 times your initial amount. So that's a huge opportunity cost that people don't even consider, is that you could be investing this money and it could build you a ton of wealth. And I'm not even saying you got to wait 30 or 40 years. Even if you wait between 10 and 20 years, you're probably going to see a pretty good return on your money. And one thing that makes gambling so dangerous today is that most bets are placed on phones. It looks like what I'm seeing here, 90% of bets are placed on phones. They're not placed at casinos or racetracks, and more than half are live bets, which are placed while the games are in progress. I'll drop this screenshot here. I mean, you could literally bet, hey, is the next pitch going to be a ball or a strike? Is LeBron going to hit his next three, or is he going to miss? I mean, you could bet on literally anything, which is part of the thing that makes this so dangerous. And these sports books, they profit from emotion. They don't profit from skill. They design these apps to basically have push notifications after you lose money. They offer free bets to pull you right back in, and they encourage you to take bigger and riskier bets. They want you to be emotional, they want you to be impulsive, and they want you to chase dopamine. And the more emotional you are, the more money that they're going to win. And to be honest with you, even if you're not emotional, even if you're just gambling consistently, you're probably going to lose money over a long period of time. Anybody that has taken a basic statistics class knows this. Gambling and sports betting is such a massive industry because they're making so much money off of people that are addicted to gambling. And so I wanted to talk about this topic because I have seen so many guys, especially between the ages of 22 to 30, they get hooked on sports betting and they just lose thousands of dollars. Again, even if it's $5 here, $10 there, $20 there, over time it tends to get bigger and bigger, and over time you're going to just lose a shit ton of money that could be growing for you instead. And when you're in your 20s, especially your early 20s, your biggest advantage is time. And when you sports bet, that is the trade-off of basically building future wealth, having mental clarity, as well as your discipline too. You're just doing all these things for a temporary thrill, and you really don't need to win fast. You need to build up wealth slowly, because in my opinion, that's how real freedom is created. It's not by betting $100 and hoping the parlay, the 8-leg parlay turns into $10,000 and then just doing that a bunch until eventually by the time it does even hit, you've already spent more than $10,000. That's truly what I've seen happen to some people. And I'm not even saying you have to build wealth super slow. I'm not saying you got to wait 40 or 50 years. Even a 15 to 20 year period of consistent investing, you're probably going to see really good results. So that is the real cost of sports betting in your 20s and how it is absolutely destroying Gen Z men specifically. So that is it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like down below, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.